Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today I would love to share my experiences about my working holiday, work and travel, whatever you may call it, in Japan. I thought it might be a good thing, especially for people who are from Germany, but that doesn't mean it doesn't apply to other countries who have the ability and the opportunity to go to Japan for 1 year as a working holiday visa holder. But because I'm from Germany and some documents which I will introduce, I don't know if it applies to other countries as well. I mean that the documents are the same. And that's why I'm telling you that everything that I'm explaining today about the documents, only about the documents, it doesn't mean that it will apply to other countries too, but I can imagine that it's the case. It will be super, super long, but I think you guys can listen to that aside, like when you're working or eating. You can just click on this and listen to that. And, outside are some kids. My window is open because it's quite warm here in Germany currently. And if you hear some noises, you might have to endure that because I'm going to roast myself otherwise if I close the window, and just try to ignore it. Also, it might be that my mom enters the room. She's currently sleeping, and when hears me like
speaking in English, she's like, huh? New video? I'm coming.
so bear that in mind, and yeah, let's get to it. I wrote everything down in my booklet so that I can like go all the steps down, and so that I don't forget anything like I did in my previous videos. And in my previous videos I didn't mention many things, only like the surface. Today I would love to go like somewhat deeper into this thing, and I hope it might help few of you or maybe many of you to decide to go to Japan as a working holiday visa holder. And maybe you will discover that this country is perfect for you to live in. And as my first step, I took the topic visa. Visa, in a sense, how do you get that visa? Here in Germany, you have to apply the Japanese embassy. I'm pretty sure it's the same case in other countries. You have basically to collect upfront all the documents you'll need to apply for this visa. Then you go to the embassy, and then they hand you out the visa if you pass everything. If you don't pass it, they will reject you, like they did in my case. The first time my visa got rejected because I didn't pay much attention on filling out my motivational letter, and that brings me to the documents. One of the documents is this so-called motivational letter. In this letter, you have to write down like on one page, like those A4 format, and you have basically to write down your motivation, why you're going to Japan. And if you write down to learn the language, or for example, if you love anime and stuff like that, it will definitely not be enough. You have to write it down. For example, I would love to get integrated into the Japanese society. I would love to learn the language more on a deeper level, to also understand the Japanese culture because the language is quite different. That kind of stuff. Please don't include anything with manga and anime if you are not sure how your embassy will react, because my problem was not the anime and manga part. It was more like that I wrote down my hobby is cosplay. It used to be back then my hobby, and I wrote down, yeah, because I love cosplay, I would love to go there to see how the Japanese people do this. Yeah, quite dumb, and I actually should be able to understand with my 27 years old that it's not the good reason to go there. So I just wrote down I would love to what did I write down actually? I would love to meet my friends, which I already got to know online, and now I want to make friends, a friendship with them in Japan. I want them to introduce me to the culture, that kind of stuff. I don't have it like immediately in my head, like what I wrote down back then, but that will be the first document. The second document you'll need is your activity list. It's like a list. It's everything is already pre-organized, pre-typed in, and you just have to download it on the website of the embassy, and then you have to fill it in. And this activity letter, you have to write down. What do you have to write down? What exactly you want to do? I mean, kind of ridiculous because you cannot know exactly what you're going to do every single month, but you have to fill in every single box which is there. For example, what was it actually? I think there was like a region, a city, the time, and what you're going to do there. I wrote down, for example, of course I was not sure. I just wrote down in June I'll stay in Tokyo to get to know the culture better there. Then I write down June, the whole June, like from 1st June to 31st June. And then the activity, get to know the culture more, to meet new people, to meet people I already know and stuff like that. And you have to fill out in everything. You have to fill out every single part. Otherwise, they will not accept it. That was, I think, also one of the reasons why they rejected my visa. The next document you'll need will be the application form. That's like a paper you can also print out to write down like your address, when exactly you're flying, which means you have to buy already the ticket, because without this ticket you cannot apply for the visa, but I will tell you afterwards exactly what I mean. And this application form, like your age, your gender, your name, your address, and also where you're going to stay. That means you also have already to have your accommodation, which means, for example, it doesn't matter to them what kind of accommodation, as long as you write the address so that they can reach you in case something happens. And of course, to make it easier to find you for them if you do something illegal. And that's like a basic application, you know, from other kinds of documents in your life, like, I don't know, application for school and stuff like that. Next thing will be the flight ticket and the accommodation. As I mentioned before, you have already to have your ticket booked. And if you have booked your ticket only to Japan but not back, which makes, in my opinion, makes more sense, because I bought my ticket to Japan but no return ticket, because I don't know, maybe I will go earlier, maybe I don't like it that much like I imagined it to be, and how I will like it, which means you have to have the opportunity to go back to your country early in case something happens. But, and that's the but, if you apply for this visa with only the ticket only to Japan but no return ticket, you have to show more money on your bank account, which will be the next topic. If you have the return ticket, you have to show less, but I'm gonna explain it later on. As for the accommodation, if you book an accommodation, I mean, you can already apply for this as an accommodation with your friends. If you have some friends in Japan or someone who is ready to take you into their house, you can of course apply for that. I didn't do that because I didn't know anyone there. I mean, I knew a few people, but I didn't want to be a burden to live in their house so that they take me. Basically, I bought an Airbnb apartment, and I'm really glad that I took this Airbnb apartment because I became friends with the landlady. And because I was not traveling during a seasonal time like the sakura blooming and stuff like that, that made it for me a little bit cheaper for my apartment. I paid somewhat around 373 euro, I think, for 3 weeks or for a month. I'm not sure, but it doesn't make a big difference. I mean, I'm pretty sure if it was only for 3 weeks, then it will be a little bit more expensive for the 4 weeks. And I basically stayed there for a month because I was already preparing. If I go to Japan and stay in this apartment, I can, in the meantime, I can search for another apartment which will offer me better or maybe a longer term residence in an apartment. So I just booked that apartment, and I lived in a four people room, very small but super tidy. And maybe I can find her link somewhere, and then I can link it down below so that you can book, because that place is amazing. It's freaking close to the station, close to all the major sightseeing spots. And yeah, I will also include the video of the apartments I show you where I lived, and of course some videos for example, for my job and stuff like that. I booked this apartment. I had like the application. You can print it out that you have like the a confirmation that you already booked it, and the confirmation from your ticket, which means you have to print it out too. And I don't think it's the true case, because actually you travel there because it's called working holiday. You want to work and have a holiday to see the Japanese culture and to see their working environment, so that you can decide in whether you want to stay there for a long term or not. And if you have your flight ticket to Japan but not back, you have to prove that you have 3,000 euro on your bank account. And if you have the return ticket, I think it was 2,000. It might have changed in the meantime, but I'm not sure. And you have to show like those 2,000, and it's not enough. That, for example, in my case, they also rejected it because I showed them that I put 4,000 euro on my bank account, but the money was not on my card yet. I just had the confirmation from the post office that I already like put it onto the account, but it didn't arrive yet. And the lady there didn't accept it. She still rejected it. She said, we need like the paper where it says the 4,000 or 3,000, 2,000 euro are on the bank account. So they rejected it too. And yeah, make sure that the money is already on the bank account. Next thing will be you have, of course, to have a passport, and that passport should be from the country which have the agreement with Japan on having the working holiday. If that's not the case, for example, I think for Canada, I don't think you can do this working holiday. I think USA also doesn't offer that, but in our case it does. If you apply with your passport, then you have to bring, I think it was 2 photos of you, which have like the regulations and rules how to have the photo. Like, I mean, normal photo it's not enough. You have to make it like with the for the professional passport. You have to make it because they are going to apply it for you, I think, for your application form and then somewhere else. And yeah, those 2 photos should be done according to the law. For those photos, for the passport photos, I think in Germany it's 6.5. I don't know, to be honest, but you can just Google this up. It's pretty easy. And when you have those documents, I think nothing else is missing. Then you take all of those documents, you go to the embassy, you give it in, and then the only thing you can do is wait, because then they will contact you like with the email or phone, depends on what you have given them. And yeah, then it decides if you get the visa or not. When you get the visa, we come to the next thing, which is the flight. I bought a ticket for a flight which I think it was the cheapest one by that time, and I think I paid 480 euro for the flight to Japan, and it was with a transfer. I think the transfer was in Russia. I think I took Aeroflot, and it was like with a stop, like a layover for 2 hours or 3 hours in Russia, in Moscow. Now that you arrived in Japan, and it's super hot, in case you booked it in summer, be prepared that it will be super humid, so please don't give up when you land. And when you exit the plane, you'll feel the super heat. Yeah, take care of yourself and drink lots of water. When you arrive, the first thing you want to do is go to the counter where it says, I think international residents. I'm not sure. I landed in Narita airport, and you need to go immediately to there to show. I would recommend you to open up the passport on the side, like on the page where side your Japanese visa. Then you show it, and then they will immediately recognize that you are going to stay here for a longer period of time, which brings us to the residence card. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the residence card because when I exited Japan back to Germany, they destroyed it. And yeah, when you get your residence card, the first thing you want to do is to go to find your beautiful apartment. And depending on where it is, you can either take a train or a bus. Basically, I took a train because to my apartment it took me 1 hour and 30 minutes to reach the apartment, because Narita airport is not directly in Tokyo, although it's called together with Haneda airport, it's called like the Twin Sisters airport, but it's not the case because it's more out of Tokyo. It's like in the Chiba prefecture. And yeah, once you took the train, just pay attention. Everything is in English. You don't need to be afraid. Just pay attention to the all the whole schedules showed up on the on screens. And first, you of course Google upfront before you go, when you still have Wi-Fi. I cannot promise you that you will have Wi-Fi in Narita airport, but you should, because usually it is the case. I mean, I already had the Wi-Fi, and I was already 2 times there and 2 times in Haneda airport, and everything worked out fine. So basically, Google the address, and in which station you can see on the Google Maps, which station is like the closest to your apartment. Then you just basically Google Narita airport. Even in Google Maps, you can just write it like the route you need. Just write down Narita Airport to blah 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 station, which station would be your station close to your apartment. And by yourself, before you go, you can always do it on the Japanese. I think it's japanrail.com or something like that. I'll include it in the description for the basic thing called pocket Wi-Fi. Because when you are trying to reach your apartment, you will probably not have any Wi-Fi, except if you pass by a konbini. But those konbinis, like the convenience stores, if you pass them by, and you might catch a little bit of Wi-Fi, but then you have to move further, which means you will lose the Wi-Fi signal again. Yes, I would recommend you to get this pocket Wi-Fi. It's freaking expensive. I think I paid for 9 days, I paid 109 euro. And yeah, after that time, don't be afraid. They give you everything in this pocket Wi-Fi box. You have like the envelope and like the sticker you have to stick it onto this envelope to send it back. It's like you put it after 9 days. I would recommend to do it a little bit earlier, to put this pocket Wi-Fi into the envelope, then like glue it together and then put the sticker on it. Just throw it inside those typical Japanese red post boxes. You don't need to go to the post office for that. That's the good thing. And you don't need to pay for the pocket Wi-Fi to send it back. You just throw it into one of those typical Japanese red boxes for post, and that's it. Once you reached your apartment, first thing you want to do is, of course, to calm down and relax. And I wouldn't recommend to search for your job immediately if you have enough money on your bank account, because you had to show at least 2 or 3,000 euro, and you can be sure that you can survive with those 2 or 3,000 euros for at least 2 or 3 months. Because your apartment is already paid, and that's just for food and transportation. And when you chill down, I mean, actually, I would recommend to do it immediately at the airport, to get yourself a Suica card or a Pasmo card. This is like basically a thing you can pay everywhere with this thing. Like, you know, if you are from London, or you know, like people who already traveled to London, they know this system too. You have like this card. With this card, you just touch it onto those passing gates, and then you just can go through, and the money which you pay will be taken away from the card after you exit the next station. And you have to make sure that you are not going to exit the same station once you touched it immediately after that, because you will never be able to pass it by. And you have to go to this window, like the Midori Mado. You have to make sure that they like unblock it. And with this card, you can also pay in convenience, and in many supermarkets, you just touch it and that's it. And if you didn't do this on the airport, at the airport, which is when you exit the plane, you can just go into the lobby, and there are those typical machines where you can just go there and it says buy a new Suica or buy a new Pasmo. Yeah, if you didn't do it by then, you should do it by now. And I would recommend definitely to get this, because a friend of mine who visited me in Japan, she didn't do this for a long time, and she lost quite a lot of money, because every single time when you have to pay and you don't know the station, you pay like the money to the station, but you had to exit earlier, you lost some kind of amount of money, which is not the thing you have to do. Actually, to get this, you have to pay, I think, 500 yen. It's approximately $4 to 30 50. It's like a deposit fee, and the rest will be the money you have on this card. For example, if you put 5,000 yen onto this, 500 goes to the deposit fee, and the 4,500 will stay here, which means you can just travel every single time or buy with this. I use this crap a lot. Now we're coming to the section where I can say something about the job, because I already also worked in Japan. I think I worked for 5 months there. It was not when I lost all the money. I didn't wait until this stage where I don't have a single yen and have to work. I did it because I wanted to see how the Japanese working culture is. And keep in mind, I'm a foreigner, and you're going to be treated differently in a company. Basically, I worked at a hotel in Shibuya, and my jobs were just normal things like removing bed sheets, putting new ones, vacuum cleaning, bringing out the trash. To be honest, it was actually a pretty fun job. It doesn't sound as boring and as disgusting as it may sound right now. After 4 months, I started working in Japan, and by that point, I was already living at my boyfriend's. I was already living with a Japanese family, and that's the funny part. The landlady where I lived like for the first month during my whole journey, this lady introduced me to this couple who have like a small baby, and they have like a house, and super small house, by the way. Don't think about like a huge villa. They have a house, and it's kind of close to the station, because they also offered me a bicycle which I could take to drive along. to the station, and from there I take the train to my job, to my working place, and I lived like in a small room. No, there's no papa. There is no papa. Come, sit down. No, you don't want to sit down. Oh, be careful. No, there's also no papa. There's also no papa. Where's mama? Why did you close the door? Why did you close the door? Where's mama? Where's mama now? Where's mama now? Where is mama? Look, mama. Mama. Mama, where are you? Say, we lived in this room for, yeah, I think for until the last day I was in Japan. I was still paying my rent, which was super cheap, like 30,000 yen. I think it's approximately $250, $260, I think. And I paid it for each month. And I think from November I started living at my boyfriend's place, and I started living with him from November in 2018, and from there my traveling work was freaking long. I had to wake up much earlier, like I think 2 hours earlier than I actually could woken up when I lived in Kamata, which was like the place where I lived for the first month. And that was still much closer, 1.5 hours, which I needed to take the train. I like to go by train to my working place and then still walk from the station to my working place. It's still much closer than the apartment I lived after I had to leave the apartment in Kamata from the landlady. And I lived for the 2 months before I started living with the family. I started living with the family by the end of August, I think. And during that time, between like the 1st July and the mid of August, I lived in an apartment extra for people like foreigners who work or travel here. Super small, one room, but nothing special. I will do the video. And I lived there for those 1.5 months until I moved in with the family, because they needed to talk about if they want to take me, how much they are going to require from me and stuff like that. And that was in Adachi, and I was freaking far away from the center. It's like, I call it the godforsaken place. Me and my boyfriend still call it this way. We don't call it Adachi, we call it like the godforsaken place. Super boring, super empty, super far away from the center. Thank God I didn't work back then in Shibuya, because that will take ages to go there. But by that point I already worked, I think for a week I worked for a Jewish family. They had like 3 kids and they needed like to take care of the household. I worked, I think, for 3,000 yen per day, two times a week, I think. Actually, that's not a lot of money, because most of the money will go away for the train costs, which also took me quite a long time to travel to them. That's why I quit after, I think I quit after 1 month. Then I started to live with my boyfriend. I started working in Shibuya in a hotel, like I already mentioned, and I found this job on Craigslist. Not a very trustworthy website. I wouldn't recommend it, but I was kind of desperate, and I thought the worst thing that can happen is that they kill me if I go and it's like a scam or something like that. It was not a scam, it was a great hotel. it's called the Millennials. I loved working there, and they actually in summer they are always searching for people to work. So in case you wanna, they always, I think, search for like a small period of time, and not a small period of time. Like you can work all the time, like when you're living there for 2-3 years. I don't mind. I mean, it doesn't matter to that, but they only take you like short period of time, like only 5 hours per day, and you can decide when you want to work, how long you want to work. That's a good thing. You can be flexible. I earned in the beginning 900. I don't want to lie. I think 955 yen, approximately $8. And with the time, when you improve and you're not leaving the job too early, if you come always, if you're punctual and stuff like that, if you are working all the days you applied for, and you work them down like completely, you will also have like a chance of promotion. They will pay more money for that. And yeah, I think I worked there for 5 months, and it was funny, but then I wanted to quit. I quit because I wanted to travel with my boyfriend, and kind of worked out, I guess. I can make a separate topic on that, where we traveled and what we did. And yes, that's it for the job. I think approximately $9.50 or $10 per hour was still better than not doing nothing, because basically if you don't have friends, if you don't go out, you're going to be super bored, super lonely. Now for the few things, it's like a language barrier. Did I have a language barrier? Basically I went to Japan already with few Japanese vocabularies, like hello, how are you, thank you, and stuff like that. I think this is something you already need to know before you go to any kind of country. And even if you don't speak it, Japanese people are not stupid. They're not fluent in English, but they know how to say thank you, here you go, or something like that. And yeah, have a nice day or something. And a language barrier will not be your thing. Also not in the job, because I worked in a company with Japanese people, with American, with English, with Spanish people, because they are all kind of on a working holiday. And yes, you don't need to be afraid of the language barrier, I think, because if you know the basics, you're on the safe side. Now to the thing called a SIM card. If you are okay with the fact that you are not going to work in Japan, then I don't think you need a SIM card, because you have basically Wi-Fi either in your apartment, in your Airbnb accommodation, or outside in the convenience. You kind of can catch everywhere Wi-Fi. It's not like many people say there is no Wi-Fi in Japan, like on the streets. That's a total lie, especially not in Tokyo. If you're in Tokyo, like somewhere around the major sightseeing spots, you will have enough Wi-Fi to get along with. But if you want to work, you will have to have a residence place, like a place where you live, and the residence cards, of course, which you get anyways when you enter the airport. And you will need a phone number. You cannot work in Japan without a phone number, and that's the problem, because I actually didn't want to take any SIM cards to save money, but I had to, and I took it for my job because it was required, and the Japanese bank account is also required. I don't know if I have mine here. No, I don't have it here, I think. Basically, you have like a Japanese bank account. A friend, the landlady, went with me to the post office to get the bank account, and without help you will not be able to do that. Also, to apply for your residence, like for your permanent residence, you will have to go to the city hall, and without the help of Japanese people will not be that easy. That's why I asked my landlady to go with me for the bank account, and I asked my the friend she introduced me where I was living at. I asked her to go with me together to apply for my residence, for my resident card, the permanent one. They will like stick it onto this the new one where you are living, because when you enter the airport and you, like me, first are living in accommodation in Kamata, they will apply that address. And yeah, then you have to apply like the new one. They will stick it on the backside, I think. Yes, that's now for food, for the expenses which you have for the food and stuff like that. I tell you, it's not expensive, like many people say, because if you are ready to cook, like to buy in stocks and bunks a lot of things, might seem a lot at the beginning. In the beginning, especially if you buy like foreign things or seasonal, not seasonal fruits or veggies, because fruits and veggies in Japan are not as expensive as everyone says, especially not the veggies, especially not from the local market. And if you are ready to cook with those groceries you just bought, which will not be like the super convenient stuff, because the convenient stuff, it might be convenient like the convenience say, but it's freaking expensive if you like count it on a long term. For example, if every single day if you eat, let's say, three different meals and like already prepared ramen and stuff like that, it's going to get into your pocket. So I would recommend, like, if you have the chance to buy food in big amounts and cook with them, I'll definitely do that. And I think I paid in a month for the whole groceries. In the beginning, I didn't pay attention to the money, and that was actually kind of stupid, because I lost a lot of money, and I bought like from convenience store and stuff like that. That was totally wrong, until I started to buy my food in big amounts and started cooking. And I think per month, when I started to be much healthier, I paid approximately maybe 15,000 yen. It's approximately $140, $130, I'm not sure. And it should be actually not as expensive as you guys expect it to be, because people think, oh my gosh, Japan is so expensive, it's Tokyo. Yes, of course it is expensive if you go out every single time, with like buy it in convenience, or even worse, at a restaurant. Set aside the fact that you are going to eat, like, if you miss something from your country, let's say you're Italian, you miss pizza, it's going to be fucking expensive, and it doesn't even taste like real pizza. So yeah, keep in mind that. And my conclusion to this will be, if you have the chance to experience a different culture, especially a culture you've been yearning for, like me, for years and years. In my case, I think it was 15 years I've been yearning for to go to Japan, and finally made myself this dream come true. And to have someone who can support you, like with money, because all the money I had saved for that, it's not only mine. I worked a lot, but my grandma and my mom helped me. Without their help, it wouldn't be possible for me to travel there. And if you have the chance to travel, in conclusion, you can say you need approximately 3,000 to 4,000 euro. It's oh my gosh, again in English, like 5,000 to $6,000. If you can make up for that, and that already seems like a huge amount of money, especially in my case, I've been living my whole life super poor. I know what it means not to have money. And if you have the chance to travel with that money, and get to know this culture, and if you already have been yearning for this culture, pack some vocabularies, the basics. Just pack it in your bag. Pack your bags not too heavy, super light, because you're going to buy a lot of clothes there, and not only clothes, also stuff. I would definitely recommend to go there and take this chance if you can. Yeah, that's actually it for this video today, and I hope it was informative. If you like those kinds of videos, just give me a super thumbs up and click onto this bell so that you can be notified if I uploaded a new video. And aside from that, if you still have questions, you can ask them in the comment section. I'm going to ask them either in the comment section or in the next video. And yeah, aside from that, I wish you a good day, and see you in my next video.